How's fatherhood, Adam? How you doing?
Yeah, it's good, mate. Looking for it. It's good. It's hard work. Like I'm not gonna lie. My missus takes the brunt of it because I work shift work, so to be fair, my missus takes the brunt of it. But it's brilliant, but it is hard work.
Yeah. So before we get stuck into your rugby story, mate, where was home for you and who lived with you as a kid?
Obviously, lived in the same house all my life until I left the house and bought this one with Sophie in Hillary Close in Open View. So it was obviously my mum and dad and my brother now Dan, which obviously you know him.
Yeah, yeah. So has the competitiveness always been in your house? Because many people know, mate, Prendy Senior played, didn't he? And then Dan's
Yeah, my dad
played.
played.
So
My dad played rugby for I don't know how many years. It was a while, but we think we watched him a couple of times as kids. But we was only young, so I don't really remember it. He played for the Bells. They were called the Bells at the time. He used to play on
yeah.
Fairfield School pitches, so at the side of the AstroTurf.
Oh yeah.
I remember watching him on there, but actually, I was a kid playing rugby myself at the side of the pitch and I was down in the mud. So I don't remember it properly, but I know obviously he
Yeah.
played and stuff like that. And then our Dan's always been older than me. That's what got me really. He played. So I think I was about 3 or 4. He's 3 years older than me, our Dan, and he was playing for the Hornets, like yeah, we all did years ago.
Yeah.
And then obviously he was always playing sport, mainly playing games, always competitive.
Yeah. So you touched on it a bit there, mate. So how was rugby for you introduced to you to go and play, and where did you first start?
Obviously, it was on the telly with my dad. My dad always watched rugby. Knew obviously my dad played, and with our Dan being a bit older than me, he played the Hornets. It wasn't called Upper Farm Hornets. What was he called years ago?
We were just talking on it, mate, weren't we?
Was it Hornets? Was it? Yeah,
Yeah.
did have him. Yeah,
Crower
yeah, it was
Park.
Hornets. Yeah, Grover Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our Dan played. He's a couple of years older than me. So I used to go and watch him train. And I think it's a picture somewhere of him. He won I think doing like a tournament or something. And I was in the same kit, dressed in the same kit as in the bright green one.
Hand me
Little
down. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, little mushroom. Yeah, see, I used to go and watch them, and then, so used to go watch him play and train, and I started not joining that because I was too young. Then
Yeah.
I was there from like 3, 4 years of age, and then I think when I was old enough, then I think it's like 7, isn't it? I started
Yeah.
playing myself then.
Right. And what do you remember about them early days, mate? Was it full pitch? Was it
We're trying. There used to be 2 pitches at the bottom, didn't there? They used to play on the
yeah.
bottom of the park. Obviously we played on them. Now I'm presuming they were smaller pitches. They must have been smaller pitches.
Right.
But I just remember playing. You should play in there, and you go in the hut, the green hut at the top after it. Get a
Mm.
hot dog, get a shower, and you go in the park, then play in the park.
Mm. So did you always play your own age at club level? You didn't play with
Yeah,
us, did you?
no, I played with your age, the year above at town team, but club wise,
Yeah.
just played with my own age. I played a bit in the junior school, played a bit in the year above, but nothing too much.
Right. And what junior school did you go, mate?
St John Fisher, so it was local around the corner. Rugby was around the corner.
Yeah.
School was around the corner.
Right. So when you say you played the year above, so where position wise, where would you have played?
Well,
And just name a few of them lads.
years ago, I was dead skinny, so I used to play like wing and stuff
You're
like
still
that.
slim, Adam.
Yeah, it's not nowhere near a winger's position though. But yeah, so weird years ago, there's a kid. I don't really remember too much about like positions, and you're sort of just all over the show, aren't you? Really, and you're
Yeah.
playing like eights, nines, and tens. When I played like towards more town team, I got pushed more towards the back row, and I played a lot of stuff in the back row really. When I was younger, like say 7, 8, I played a bit more like I was quite fast at the time. I'm definitely not fast anymore, but I was quick then. I just played like wing fullback sort of thing. But as I got older, I got moved more further into the middle.
Yeah, at least you started out there. I never got out the
You couldn't get out of
middle. So when you touched on there, mate, you played the year above, which like was my age group, wasn't it? So how
there.
did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go about getting invited to a town team trials? How does that work for a
How
younger
much?
lad?
I think it comes through school. I'm sure. If I remember rightly, it was through school. And remember Keith Fielding, from Mr. Fielding, used to do our sports at St John Fisher. And I think he used to come up at trials, if I remember rightly, for town team. And I
Yeah,
think so there was a couple of people our age. It was David Dooley, obviously he always played. I'm trying to think about who was playing. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember Dooley.
Chris Eden would have been at your
Chris
school.
Chris Eden was there, definitely. Jonathan, think yours as well. Might be his second name. Dad used to coach. Jonathan Kelly, yeah. There's a couple more as well. Peter Eccleston, maybe one of them.
Yeah.
I think Peter played.
Yeah.
And then there was myself and Jake Fraser from our school.
Right.
I think we played a couple of games with the under the year sixes rugby just for St John Fisher, and he asked us to go down and do the trials. And I remember we did the trials, but I didn't get picked first time round. I remember we stood in the old ICI and they only read the team out. We did a couple of trial matches and I didn't get picked. I wasn't too fussed at the time because I was younger, so I was happy just to go along and trial with them. So I'll have a game. And I think it was only a couple of weeks after. I don't know if my dad got a phone call. It must have been my dad got a phone call. I ended up going down and playing, and then obviously whether or not you tour to Yorkshire.
Yeah.
And I played a couple of games, don't you? And we go on tour to Yorkshire. I remember doing that, but that was.
Do you remember the little program we got, Adam?
Yeah, you had your name in it and stuff like that. I do, yeah. I always
you
remember
being on the front cover, don't you?
Oh, I was, wasn't I? Yeah, it was just a picture from Keithley. That
Golden
wasn't it?
boy.
I definitely wasn't the golden boy. Must have picked the wrong picture. Must have missed the Richie Meyer off.
I think, remember when we went, we got that little booklet and it come and we're all like looking at you, looking at the booklet, and it was like little Prendy there on the front.
Yeah, on the front sitting on all, yeah. Like to Gallivant that as well, didn't he? He'd played a year.
Yeah, he played Craig Wharton.
Oh, Craig Wharton. Did he play Craig Wharton, didn't he? And Jake Fraser. Danny Hume.
No.
Danny Hume might go, no. I thought Danny Hume did.
Neither did Jake. Jake
did.
Definitely started the season, didn't he? Did he come on the tour, did he?
I did think so. I might be wrong, I don't know, but I'm sure he did.
Because you had quite a strong school, so getting sent a year below, mate, it's quite a good.
It was good.
It
wasn't bad. To be honest with you, I didn't get picked straight away. I didn't get picked in the first. No, I had to pick a squad, or I can't remember. To be honest with you, and a couple of weeks after, I ended up getting. I must got a phone call to go up there. I think I got a letter actually. That's how long ago it was. I think it's Roger Harrison got me dad a letter. Roger Harrison let me do me dad a letter, and I went on the tour around Yorkshire. You used to play a couple of games. You didn't play many games, or did you? Remember rightly?
No, 3 or 4, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it wasn't too many. But it was good. It's good experiences, especially playing with the old lads and stuff like that. And I've seen like yourself and other lads like Dooley and people. You end up being mates with them and knowing them, even though you're not playing the same year.
Do you reckon going back the year after and being like the last year at school and you played every week then, don't you? And did you leave a marker on you, Adam? Did people know who you was then?
Like other teams or
other school teams? Yeah.
I don't know. Not at that age. I don't think it's a massive thing. People, I think when you're at that age, if you're like a big kid, like huge, people knew who you are, don't you? But I personally wasn't that big as a kid or like that, so I don't think so. It definitely helps you develop though, because you play against. I know it sounds stupid; they're only 12 months older, but you play against older people, don't you? So I remember when I was playing like 16-year-old, playing like the open age, gives you loads of confidence to play against other people again. Makes a massive difference.
So, how was it going back? And did you get picked first time around the year after? Yeah,
I got picked the first time. You know, see, not only the coaches because he played there the year before, which things obviously makes a massive difference and helps out. Yeah. And so you're the year older, probably more confident because you played the year before. So obviously got picked as normal. Yeah, I've covered by the year before, so I guess should have been straight in for that, really, shouldn't I? I think I might have still had that programme in my dad's loft. My dad will have it somewhere, definitely.
Yeah, I'll have it somewhere. Something my mum used to keep and that.
My dad's the same.
On the back of all that, mate, and now establishing yourself, because like you said, the first time you didn't get picked straight away. Was what age did you really feel like you kicked on? Was it in high school?
No, to be honest, I was probably playing quite well, and it sounds daft when I was a kid, like probably because I obviously got picked in the talent team the year above. And we got picked in our talent team. I played majority of the games. So I was doing pretty well as a younger kid. And then I had a bit of a bad knee injury when I was 10, I think. I think it was about 10. And it was a bit weird, really. We got tackled playing, that's when we were playing for Morford at the time. And I got tackled at me leg, like buckled on the inside, and the top half of my body went the other way. I remember being sat on the floor. It was Dave Hayes, who was coach at the time, was sat behind me for about 2 or 3 hours, waiting for an ambulance to come. My boots cut off my leg and stuff, like off my foot and stuff like that. And had scans, but they never really knew. I spoke about this the other day with like an injury specialist, and I've just signed up with some like injury rehab specialist, still with my knee. He was asking about my previous injuries. And I said, I still to this day don't really know what I'd done because I was so young. He said I didn't know I'd dislocated it or I'd like snapped the ligament, like overstretched the ligaments. He just didn't really know what I did. So he stuck a tube grip on my leg and left me for like 6 weeks to just see how you go. So then after that, I didn't really kick on for a bit. I struggled a bit for a couple of years then playing rugby. Not like injury wise, just I think confidence. But about injury
and
stuff.
Growing as well, Adam, aren't you? And...
Well, that's another thing, yeah, obviously growing. And say actually that why didn't they know what was wrong with me? Because they said because of your age, you don't really know what's going on. Just a bit of a freak accident, really.
Right. And has that plagued you? Has it right up and still?
Yeah, well, that injury is such. But my left knee's been bad since I was about 14, 15 from that, and it's been bad all the way up until like now. I'm trying to sort it now when I finish playing.
Right. Have you managed it then, mate?
What's that? Sorry.
So how have you managed it? What have you done to get you this far, sort of thing?
It's sort of obviously the few injuries they had, they just caught up with me. Like I had my cartilage took out my left knee when I was 15, and that eventually that's what caught up with me because obviously I had no cartilage in my knees, my bones been grinding, and it's what's wore my joint, what basically wore my joints away. So up until then, that's why the last few years I played, I was just taking tablets. To be honest with you.
Was you?
Yeah, just taking tablets most of the time.
It's mad that you're like at our age that you know cartilage in that, innit?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do the same thing though. Like you say, you're just playing sports, aren't you?
Yeah. And if we could do it again, we would, mate, wouldn't we? So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
So how was your transition into high school, Brendy?
It wasn't. I was quite lucky again. Sport makes as much as anyone makes a massive difference. So I went to. Remember, we got our forms given to us in year 7. And I walked in our form, and in our form class was 6 or 7 lads from Moorfield. So we were from different schools, from St Bede's and a couple of other schools. But you knew half your people already. I've seen all the other form classes. Then I've all got lads in who play rugby and stuff like that. So it made school for me a lot easier, and probably for a lot of people who I was with a lot easier because you already know everyone when you get there.
And when you went into school, you went Peter and Paul, didn't you?
Yeah, I went P&P, yeah.
So what was the message regarding playing rugby? So when we went, our message was if you don't play rugby union, you can't play rugby league.
Well, there was no rugby league on the table, like you say. It was just we got there and then we went rugby training. Obviously, as you're new to it and stuff like that, we just all went to go rugby training. It was rugby union only. We wasn't told directly like the same as you got told not playing at all, but there was no rugby league on offer. So I think for the first maybe 2 or 3 years we played rugby union, which I wasn't too keen on. To be honest, I'd never played it before. I didn't understand the rules. Didn't really know at all. But it was just a game of rugby. So I think we played a couple of times on a Saturday morning. Used to get on the bus and used to play 2 or 3 teams. I remember going away trips like with some of the like year 11s or the 6th form was on the bus as well.
Yeah. And was it did rugby union tick a box for you, or was again like you said, was it just a game for you?
No, it was just a game of rugby, just to play. I wanted to play rugby, so I played rugby. Like, I wouldn't say I hated it, but it didn't stand. I never crossed your mind to think, oh, I'll go and play that instead. I just played it because it was an option. Yeah.
Right. And what was club standard turning into? So what sort of standard was you playing? Because at that age, mate, that's when your coach leaves the field, you play with 13, you start kicking out of hand and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, we had Dave Hayes and Peter Fraser coached us from like 6, maybe up until I think it was under 10s or 11s. I'm not too sure. Then my dad took over coaching with John Nelson and Barry Bamber. And that's when I think it started becoming where he was off the field and you're on your own and stuff like that. But we played we had a really good team. There was quite a few decent players in it. A lot of them played like scholarship. But not many of them ended up going playing on further, to be honest. There's a few did, but a lot of them stopped. But we had a really good team. And the league we played in, now you look in Super League, there's good fair few Super League players who played in our leagues for years. So it was a pretty decent standard.
Yeah. And then when school started playing rugby league, mate, what was the standard between them? What was better and what did you enjoy more?
We had a better rugby league team because the majority of our lads, I'd say, all the 80-90% of our team all played at Father Moorfield. We had a couple of West Bank lads playing, but majority of our players all played in our club team. So it made us a better team anyway because we already played together all week and the weekends.
Yeah, so combinations were just getting stronger.
Yeah,
and
and all your mates are already there playing anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. It's just like playing with your club team, really, with a couple of lads from school. Like we discovered Danny Irving playing school rugby.
Talking about big kids and that.
He was just a freak. He was like probably about 6 foot. He was massive. He was rapid. He was a goalie at football. He played like for United or Liverpool or something like that. And no one could tackle him or catch him. He just couldn't touch him.
No, he come and played it for us at the Marries.
Well, he signed for our Moorfield side for 2 years, I think.
Right.
That last 2 years, maybe like year 10, 11. And he was a freak. He was a freak. Absolute freak in nature.
And from a young age, was you a kind of leader from the junior teams, or is that something you've grown into?
I think, obviously, I loved rugby as a kid. I lived like a lot of people do. I lived it. So I was like, I always loved it. I was always there. I was always committed. Always trained. When I was younger, I was quite a decent. I was not one of the best ones. There wasn't, but I was one of the better ones in my age when I was younger. And as we got older, after hurt, and then I don't know, just didn't really play as well as maybe I was playing years ago. There were just better players there. But then I think I just loved it that much. I've always enjoyed playing. So as I got older, I did grow more into the game. Probably got better again as I got older.
Right, mate. And any rep stuff through school, Adam?
No, I don't think so. No, I think I never got picked on the scholarships and stuff like that. I went to a
service area either.
I played service area. I forgot about that. Yeah, I played service area. Right. Forgot all that. That was a game. It was the same faces really at service area it was at town team. Yeah. It's usually the same thing, isn't it? Then like I said before about Danny Irvings, they come into it then because it's through school or playing club football and stuff like that. And then they come on, you get new face set into it and stuff like that.
Right. So when the clubs usually come sniffing round, mate, and so you're in and around it obviously because you're in the service area, aren't you? Yeah. So when was your approach to sign? Did you decide not to, or did it just not come about?
I never got approached by it. No, I say to further as well. I wasn't playing the best. Definitely wasn't one of the best players. There was a good handful of people who were a lot better than me at the time. So it wasn't. I didn't get picked a scholarship, and then I just played amateur. Then I played amateur my whole life. I've never done anything like that.
And was you more than happy with that, though, Adam?
Yeah, obviously don't get me wrong. I would like to have got picked like any kid. When you're a kid, you want to play. You want to think you're going to be. You'd like to be a Super League player, wouldn't you, or an NRL player? But it's like everyone's dream when you play a certain sport. But no, I never thought I was like done to, or I should have got picked, or I should have been there. So I could never complain about it. I was happy doing what I was doing.
That's fair enough. And what happened when Moorfield folded, mate? Where did that leave you?
So we was at under 16s. It was my dad and John Nelson and Barry Bamble were coaches. Yeah. My dad, obviously, I don't think he was too keen on taking on going into like towards 18s and open age. He was happy doing what he was doing. I think he'd had enough doing it anyway. And then at the Moorfield, he only had the under 18 team. He just had an open age team. And obviously, I'm an August birthday, so I'm one of the youngest ones in my year. Yeah. So I was still 15 at the time. I wasn't 16 till the August, and we'd have been playing with men.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't too keen about it, but I wanted to go and play under 18s because I'd seen my brother had played under 18s at Moorfield, and he'd moved to the Marries at the time.
Yeah. So
I'd seen him play under 18s, see what it was like, and see it was good. So I wanted to play under 18s, and then Moorfield just wasn't providing a team. So that's why I chose to go and play at the Marries, because my brother had played there the year or two before, He was then in the open age setup.
Yeah. And what are you like in a new environment, Adam? Are you
What am I
someone
like
that
in a new
can settle
environment?
straight in? Yeah.
I can settle straight. I'm not the loudest person in a new environment. I'm not someone who's that loud and confident and goes into the like can be loud and enjoy it. But I enjoy going there because it was a bit different because when we went there, Steele was the coach under 18s. It was for that time. He was very, very technical. Like we done stuff with Steve that I hadn't really seen or heard. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
he was thinking maybe in the Great Britain coach of under 18s coach at the time. So he was a little bit of a step ahead of most. It was quite it was good. He learned a lot from him.
An eye opener then coming to like, so you'd have been 16, 17 at this point.
I'd have just turned 16. I just turned 16 because I remember playing. It was me and Gallagher, one of the two, went up playing 18s at the married. I remember we played our first game. I think we played. I'm going to say Oldham St. Anne's, I think it was, and these two ball-headed props come running out. They must have been high end 18, so
like
18,
the back
19.
end of the age group.
They were last year. Me and Gallagher first year. Now Gallagher's a big lad anyway.
Mortgages, and you just got your GCSE results.
We turned up. I remember me and Gallagher. We turned up and we got dressed and so I think we were warming up. And these two lads come running out and they just looked at me like, "What are we doing here?" So we're playing against these. We're playing against kids, and then these two fellas run out. But it was it definitely helps in the long run.
Yeah, and how was that introduction? Because under 18s is basically men's rugby, Adam, innit?
Yeah, it is. Because some people are 16, some are 17, some are 18. And a lot of them have already been playing open age anyway, so the conditions towards playing open age rugby anyway.
Right.
But
so how was that for you?
I enjoy it, because we get the good thing was about it is I already knew a few people through our Dan, because like Sapreki was still there, Tizzy, Callum. There's a few lads there who we knew, Danny Scott, Dawson. So there's people who we already knew, which was good. And because I've been watching our kid up there playing, so I knew a few faces from around the club and stuff like that. So it was all right. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was something different.
Right, and so what were your aspirations leaving school, mate? Was it always to find a job that allowed you to play rugby?
Yeah, well, I was lucky, really.
Going to be rugby on the back foot?
No, I was lucky, really, because my uncle owned his own company. So I started working for my uncle in between doing my GCSE. When you used to come in for a couple of days, do an exam, and you're off. Yeah. So my brother had worked for my uncle's company anyway. So in the summer holidays, I'd done some days for him and stuff like that, get used to it. And then I just started working for him. So I remember I finished school on the Thursday, maybe. We had our prom on the Friday, and I was working on Monday morning. That's I enjoyed. No, I didn't go toppers, but straight for somewhere. But I enjoyed working. I wanted money. I enjoyed getting money out of it. So it took. Obviously, playing rugby on a Saturday. It was a Sunday in under 18s. Playing rugby on a Sunday and training Tuesday, Thursday worked around rugby, which was perfect, really. So I could do both.
Right, and how was the social side at under 18s with it being a Sunday?
It was good, obviously. I used to work on a Monday, so I did have a few drinks and stuff. I wasn't too bad, but because a lot of people are still in college, aren't they? And there's a couple of people going uni, so it doesn't really matter. So it was always good. I always had a good pint, and there's loads of lads to have a pint with after it. I say, because I used to go up there with our kid anyway on a Saturday to watch him. I knew people in the club anyway as well, so it was always good.
Any rep stuff come at that age group with Steve being coach and stuff? No,
so he was the coach of the under 18s, and I think that was the first year. I didn't really do too much in the first year because, like I say, it was we had still like people like Sapreki and that playing, a few of the older lads. So we sort of played not second fiddle to him, but played every week. But it was hard to try and stand out with people that are playing because at the time I think Preki may have been playing a bit of semi-pro for Lee and stuff like that. So it was hard to stand out. But the second, I think I did 3 because of my age. I did 3 years there, which helped me. It was the second year where I had a good year. I think I won a player of the year and stuff like that. And there was a tour that year, but Mike Allen went on it. I remember Ben Bailey.
Yeah.
Ben Bailey was playing. He went on a tour, and I think it was an Australia tour under the 18s. I think they were looking at me to go on a tour, but again, I never got picked. I had a few name mixes. But again, it didn't bother me. It was one of them things. It would have been nice to go on it, but it wasn't the end of the world.
Fair enough, mate. And just slightly being out on them chances, Adam. Do you use stuff like that? Because you're a laid back lad, aren't you? And you're pretty chill. Does that motivate you?
It does more. Obviously, like I say, I'm not playing to any money because you're playing amateur. I mean, it's free, isn't it? But to get on tours and stuff like that, I think it's it's a big achievement to try and get a Great Britain cap or anything like that. It never made me to try harder because I always thought I was trying as hard as good. Anyway, I never used to miss training. I'd never not turn up of a Saturday or a Sunday, whatever it may be. I always played as well as I possibly could, or tried to play as well as I possibly could do. So it's not like I wasn't doing anything that I should have been doing, and maybe was just not quite good enough. Maybe, I don't know, or I wasn't doing the right things. But it's not much you can do about that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes things just aren't meant to be, mate, are they? And
that's it. Yeah,
that's how it can go, isn't it? So on the back of that, do you stick around at the Marries, mate, don't you? And you start filtering in and out the first team and stuff.
Yeah, so I played the under-18s and I played a couple of games for the second team when they were short, or the 18s didn't have a game or what have you. Because I was up there watching our Dan anyway. I used to go home and away watching our Dan on a Saturday afternoon. So I'd go like Hull, I'd go anywhere. So I got to get to know all the open age set up because you're there every Saturday. Like Chris Fenlon was in charge and Kev Buck. So that's where I met Kev Buck. He was a second team coach. And then after he played 18s, and I filtered in a couple of times, played a couple of games here and there, not much. And then when I finished under 18s, went into the open age setup then, and that's when I started playing second team regularly quite a bit.
Was there much of a difference though, Prendy, from 18s to second team?
It was just, I found it was just a lot more, not like say aggressive, but you're playing against men, and in fact at the time it was North West Counties, maybe Division 2 maybe. So, like, you've got like all the old lads coming down who probably played like
the intricacies, mate, in it, the dark arts.
Stuff like you're playing against like some of the, especially playing in the middle in the pack and stuff like that. Playing some of the old lads and stuff like that. So, but it was good. It helped me massively, especially playing in the pack. It helps a lot. Yeah.
And how was your introduction to first team up there? Because would you have been playing national conference in the first team then?
The first team was national conference at the time. I think the national conference 2, maybe something like that. Right. The first time I played, I think I come in. Didn't he made me play against? I think it was East Hull. I remember it because he used to have a hooker play for East Hull. And he was a bit of a rough ass. He had a tag on. He used to play with his tag on, and I remember playing against him. And I think I played one game. I scored actually. I didn't play long. I only played about 10-15 minutes, if that, I think. But I played, and then it was one of them games. I think he was short of a few people, so they just threw me in. I've been playing second team, and I just turned up and played. Really, I didn't do anything special like that. But just felt.
Is that a nice little taster, though, mate?
Yeah, it was good to know you could play and not be out of place as such. Because you do when you're young and you come into teams, you don't want to miss tackles and maybe miss it. Do you know what I mean? And someone score past you or knock on, and you don't really do it wrong, do you? You just want to go, not bothered about doing anything special. You just want to do enough.
Yeah. And was it still winter rugby at this point, mate?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was winter rugby. Yeah.
Right, and how did you find that change? So just before we move on to that, a couple of things I'll ask you, because you played in a few Widnes Cups, which you've managed to get your hands on, and that, which we'll talk about in a bit, right, won't we? But so, how did you find the way Rugby League do team selection? So, do you not mind the fact you can turn up and potentially not play?
It's a bit different. See, when I was at Thatchleith before I finished playing, the first team was picked on Friday. So you knew Friday because obviously they do a lot of travelling. So you've got. I think people you sort of know who's going to be playing. Is you have your main bit of the team. There might be someone in and out, but the team used to get texted out on a Friday. But I think if they were picking someone, they'd tell on Thursday. Just if they knew they were going away, it could be Hull or West or Loughborough or something like that. But years ago, like you say, we used to turn up over the Marries, go in the back room, and they pick the first team and pick the second team. I've been there before when I was younger. I walked in there with my kit bag and that made me pick the second team. Then you just got to walk out with your bag and just stay and watch, basically. If you want, I'll go home.
Yeah.
But
How did you find that?
There's better ways of doing it. you could do with knowing where you. I personally would like to know where I'm playing. I think the club's a lot more better set up than that. It was quite a while ago. That, to be fair, it was still old school. But he turned up. So you turned up and they write the teams down. They're like, yeah, this is the team. Read it out.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the likes of social media now, and that trendy in it, it's easy to do.
Yeah, that's a big
now,
thing. Yeah, but I think a lot of people, especially now with the teams, say you're playing the NCL and stuff like that, there's a fair bit of travelling involved. You can't tell a lad Saturday morning that he's got to get on the bus at 10:30 to go off Brow. It isn't going to work, is it?
Mm.
But years ago, you say you just turn up, tell you, and just accept your fate and go see where you go.
Yeah. And the next one is, I only played a few Widnes Cup games, mate, obviously, because I come about when it had transitioned into summer. I was back into, but did you never find it weird playing against your mates?
I was quite lucky, really. The majority of my mates played at the Marries, really. There was a few lads who I knew here and there, but I knew people who played in other teams like Simmies and West Bank and stuff like that, but they wasn't my mates. I knew them, but they wasn't like people it wasn't people who went scuba or went for a pint with it like that. It was just people who we knew.
Yeah, I found it bizarre. Like, I'd never played against the likes of you.
I played against your brother.
Yeah, well, that must be a bit.
I played first team versus second team against your brother.
Yeah, the Marries, yeah.
Yeah, Marries first.
It's like an inter-club friendly, or was it a cup game?
No, it was in the Widnes Cup. There was a bit of a stage where there wasn't like a bit of a thing, but obviously the second team was pretty good, like really good. They were getting to like semi-finals of North West Counties Cup, like beating Prem teams and stuff like that. And the first team in the NCL. So one season, I don't know if it happened once or twice, but one season they entered a team into the Widnes Cup.
Yeah.
The second, I think the first year we went in it, we got beat off Moorfield 4-0. And they were Premiership and we were like Division 2. And then, I don't know if it was a year after or a year after, I can't remember the year differences, but we ended up playing the first team on Gossages.
Right, I suppose they can't afford for you both to get through, can they?
No, definitely not, no.
Yeah. How was it? A bit bizarre.
It was, yeah. Well, the thing is, for me, that year, I played about 6 or 7 games for the first team. I'd been Hull 3 times in 5 weeks or 6 weeks away, obviously, and got pumped like 40, 50 mil every week. They were bottom of the league this year. They were struggling for numbers. That's why I was playing. So I'd played half the year with them, or a good chunk of the year with them. And I went in there. It was Andy Rowan was the coach, and he just pulled me in. He said, "Listen, I'm sorry, but you're not in the top 6 forwards. So you're not going to be playing." I was like, "Oh, fair enough. Like whatever." So I went outside that night. It was the same night. I said to Chris Fenman, "Listen, he doesn't want to pick me, but I'm available to play for you. If you want me to play, I'm more than happy to play." He's like, yeah, definitely. So he picked me in the second team, and he played someone, beat someone, I think, and then we played the first team.
And so, how often, other than rep stuff, had you been told that at club level? What Andy said to you?
Not that many.
I can't imagine it was much, Adam. Yeah.
No, it's probably the first time, really, because I was probably still only, I don't know how old I would have been, but I'd been 18, 19, something like that, roughly. So I was playing open age only at the time. And I'd been playing the second team a lot. I played well for the second team quite a bit as well. Won quite a few man of matches and stuff like that, and I was doing quite well for him. That's why I got drafted into the first team when he was short. Yeah. But they were struggling for players for travelling, and then when they were just cut down like every year, all the players come flooding back in then.
Right. So I was just, how do you take that sort of chat? Are you someone that wants someone to be straight and direct with you?
Yeah, I'd rather someone tell me how it is, because like, he could have said to me, "Oh, I don't know if you're going to play or not," and I'd have gone, I'll hold out because I want to play, and he wouldn't have picked me, and then I wouldn't have been able to play in the second team then, so I wouldn't have played at all. Yeah. So like, I'd rather someone just say, "So you're not going to play." I think it's the best way to be.
Yeah.
There's no point there like pussyfoot around it. There's no need for it, is there? Especially, I don't mean sport. Anything in sport, you need to be straight with people.
Yeah. Like, if honesty's brutal, it's just how it's got to be, hasn't it? Some people don't like it, Adam. That's all it could have been, you know.
Yeah, I've always been. I can take criticism. I don't mind it, as long as it's like in a constructive way. Yeah, I was playing over years at club level when I played like rep level and stuff like that. Someone's told me what I need to do, or I'm not doing right. I'm more than happy. I'll never like strip me dummy out over it. I'll happily take it on board and move forward with it.
Yeah. Right, and Then Widnes Cup games are when Widnes, without being rude to clubs that have won it since, when it really mattered, wasn't it? It was big
Yeah, it was
crowds,
on big crowds.
finals at the
Like, well,
stadium and stuff.
that's it, yeah. Don't worry. I think
Yeah,
remember my dad saying years ago there was like 12, 16 teams in it, and
my
everyone used
dad
to go a
said the
team in it.
same. Yeah, like companies
But
and that. Yeah,
companies used to blow blanks and people like used to have a team in it and
yeah,
stuff like that, the beads and things. But obviously, it was still competitive when I was playing it. I think when you played in it as well, it was still competitive. But I think as the teams in Widnes have dwindled off, it's just dwindled off itself, hasn't it?
yeah. And what's it to win a Widnes Cup, mate? And what have them teams been like for you to be involved in? Some big personalities in them teams, I've been wanting them.
Yeah, there was some good players who played with you first, especially the marriage, like your Bird's Eyes, Anthony Owens, Mike Gill. There was loads of them. It's hard to name them all now. But
Yeah,
it's good to winning. I know it sounds people outside of town and that won't understand it because it doesn't mean much, but winning that every couple of years, especially I think we won it 5 years in a row. I think something like that. It's a bit of bragging rights, I suppose, isn't it? The massive how you're doing in the league and stuff like that. It's a bit of bragging points around the town. But they were good. We had some good tough wins, to be honest with you. Some really good wins, especially against West Bank, and I think we had a few against West Bank in the stadium.
yeah, especially as the Maddies sort of looked like they were going to be in transition, didn't they? And West Bank seemed to be on the verge of priming, and that's when the games really equaled out, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were tough games because I think West Bank got a lot of lads back playing from semi-pro. I think that Tommy Arrow and that come back.
Yeah.
They have the two Millies playing. Josh, they're a good team. To be honest, a very good team. But we had it as well. I think what won us most of them games with the older heads we had, like they say, Bird's Eyes, Gillies, people like that. Joe playing makes a massive difference.
Game management and stuff.
Yeah, it's just you just know what to do. And obviously, when them games are quite rough as well, so sometimes rugby's a bit of a. It's not about skill and rugby. Sometimes in them games, it goes a bit different way.
Yeah, and when did you start to notice that rugby and Widnes was sort of standard-wise declining? Without being rude to people again, because it's come back round and stuff.
It seems to have come back a lot better, haven't they? For me, we were playing. I think you had Neil Mellor was a coach for a while. I don't know if it was before. I think Will was the coaching for a bit, and he packed in Will. I don't know why he just stopped doing it. It's a big commitment, I suppose, in it with work and kids and stuff like that. I think the managers struggled a bit with like commitment from training. I remember going training sometimes. It'd be like, see me, our kid, Kev Buck, Brecky, Mike Gill, Sharples, Birds, a handful of people. Yeah. So I think people just end up spewing it. But what really put the nail in the coffin, we went playing Folly Lane away, and we drove down like our own cars and stuff like that. And we got there, and we had no coach. I think I was ringing around in the week, texting people, trying to get like 17 players to play together and stuff like that. We got the team going, and then we had no coach, we had no physio, no nothing, and we played. And do you know Liam Sheridan Steads?
Yeah.
He dislocated his elbow when we were playing. And at the time, I think I was due to go on tour, or being on tour. I'm not too sure. I can't remember where I was. I think it was due to go on tour. And he was on the floor. We had no physio, no nothing. No one knew what to do. He just lay there. His arm was still dislocated on the floor. So the game stopped for about 20 minutes, half an hour maybe. And then it was like 10 or something like that. And the referee said, listen, we're going to play for 20 minutes. Whoever scores next wins the game. So anyway, I think we scored. I think Gilmore scored from like 30, 40 yards out, and we won the game. And after the game, my dad used to watch home and away, no matter what. He was there, and he comes after the game. He was like, "I think it's time. You need to maybe just move on somewhere." Because I said, "You can't be doing that." Because I was at the time I was working on the railway, so I was working Saturday nights. So I was like playing Saturday afternoon and going on night Saturday night. And I was like, "You can't be doing that."
Shift really, innit?
Yeah, he's like, "You can't be playing that, giving your all, and then you've got to go work at 10 o'clock on a night shift." He said, "What happened? That was you. You've got to be playing for a purpose." So then I started thinking about going somewhere else then.
Right, that's fair enough. So when did your job change then, mate? Because it's pretty strenuous on the railway and having to do it after a graph.
I was on, so obviously I think I finished on the railway in 2014. I left there and got a job where I am now in St Helens, in a factory, working on the machines.
Yeah.
That's pretty similar. It's working shift work as well, but the only thing is it's not outside. It's not always a Saturday night. It could be like a Saturday morning, so it's a bit different. It's a bit better on that side of it.
Like you said, now you've got the family and that, mate, and yeah, and
well, I didn't have
changed.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the baby at the time when I finished playing. I finished playing because of my knee and stuff like that. But it was working shift work, and like it was just like on your days off, I ended up owing people loads of shifts because I was getting shifts off to go and play. And so when I'm off work on like a Saturday afternoon or whatever on a Sunday, and my missus wants to go and do something, like, I can't do it. I've got to go and work a shift for someone who we owe. So it started becoming a bit too much. Still trying to juggle rugby and working and life really.
Right, and you mentioned the tour there, mate. So talk us about the selection process for who it was, what it was, and what the tour was about.
So the first one I went on was to Jamaica for Bar under 23s, and I just got a letter asking me to go training. Like, and you want to do a few training sessions. I think you do about 4 or 5 training sessions, and you just whittle the squads down. There's probably like 30 odd there, and you usually whittle them down to about 20.
Competitive then sessions.
Yeah, it's never full contact. It was always like a Sunday morning training session. So obviously people played Saturday, so it was never like full contact session. It was more just like skills, a little bit of fitness, and like going through not moves as such, but set plays just to see how people are. But majority of it, bit of shape. I think majority of it's picked anyway because people watch people playing and stuff like that and go like. I played for, usually picked most of it through the Tri-Series, for Lancashire and Yorkshire and Cumbria. Yeah. So I played in a couple, when I was at the Mariners, I played in a couple of them. And that's when I think you sort of get picked through that. So they'll watch the Tri-Series and they'll select like a 30-man squad and just go do a few training sessions and just whittle the squads down then.
So let's rewind again a little bit then, mate. So what's the process with the Tri-Series and stuff like that?
So it's just it's like you get picked for a Lancashire squad from, at the time it was the Marys. So you just get a phone call. I think there's a couple of Zambi. I went down, Leighton, Gav Conroy. I think Danny Mellor come one. I think who else? Maybe a couple more. And again, you just go you'll train for a couple of weeks. You just go Wednesdays or something like that, I think, in between the other sessions. Train again, you just whittle a squad down again, pick a squad from that, and they just play the Tri-Series, play one away, one at home, and the year after it reverses, you play you played Cumbria this year at home, you're playing away.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to play in a decent team, and I think we won. We won about 2 or 3 of them, maybe. So that helps against you, but you're playing in a winning team. Yeah. And then obviously, it's an open age setup, and the first tour I went on was the under 23, so obviously there's only a select age group that can go on it. Right. So I got a letter from them about being selected in the train-on squad. And they say go do a couple of sessions, whittle it down, pick the final squad. That's when you're going to start getting your funding and stuff like that. And then there's just training sessions then once a week for a couple of months leading up to the tour.
Right. So the fundraising, mate, are you looking at race nights, bonus ball stuff and things like that?
Yeah, just your basic stuff. I was quite lucky, really, because our kid did a last man standing for us, like on the football or the rugby. I think they did one of each, one on football, one on rugby, and I got majority money from that.
All right.
And my dad's pretty on the ball with stuff as well. So my dad knows a few fellas down at the Widnes St Rugby League, so I got some money off them. I think I got a couple £100 off them because you're representing the town as such. And there's a couple of grants you can get as well, like sporting grants from the council. So I think I got about £500 off Altenborough Council as well the first time.
Right.
And then our dad done that last man standing, which got me a fair bit of money. And then the club did a few things as well at Marys, so like you say, like race nights and race cards and football cards, stuff like that.
Oh, so it's really, as much as you haven't been playing for a purpose, going out there probably without knowing it, your purpose is very much your fundraisers in it and your time, your club.
Yeah, it was enjoying it. And when you do get, obviously, because the lucky thing from not getting picked up as young guys, because the Tri Nations with Lancashire, the amateurs only. So anyone who's played any semi-pro or pro can't play in them.
Oh, right, even if you're no longer signed up?
Yeah, if you play past a certain age, I think it may be 21, maybe, something like that. Because
Right.
it's like a tiered system. So you're going, obviously, you're playing for Lancashire, Yorkshire, whatever, and they'll pick a Great Britain team out of it. So obviously, to play in a Great Britain team, you've got to be an amateur only. You can't play any professional rugby.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
use it as like a bit of a system. That's all. There's sort of incentives of playing amateur. Then that comes about then, like you say.
Yeah.
Something to play, but I didn't really think about even playing them. I was just playing for the Marys because obviously, again, I enjoyed playing, and I ended up getting asked to go and train for Lancashire squad, which I did. Luckily, got picked, and then I got seen from playing Lancashire to get picked in the train on squad for under 23s Great Britain.
And there was a Germany tour. Were you involved in that?
That was just with the Marys.
That was for the Marys, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, that I didn't play in that. I was injured at the time.
Right.
I just went on the piss really for a week or whatever it was.
Right. I can
But
imagine
I
it was an heavy session. That
it was very very good. It was brilliant. There's a few characters on there as well.
Yeah, I remember that picture where you're on the side of the bus, aren't you? With like a flag and that, and you're looking. Yeah, I imagine it was a messy one.
But Gilmore was in charge of that, so.
Right. Well, it says it all, doesn't
it?
So when that time come to look elsewhere for rugby, mate, what were your options?
Well, because I've been playing at Lancashire and I played for Great Britain and stuff like that. So after the Jamaica tour, when I was still at the Marys, I got picked to go South Africa for the open age.
Oh, right, okay.
Great Britain. So I think I went Jamaica in 2014, and I think it was 2016. I went South Africa.
Right.
So that was the exact same process again. I'd been playing for Lancashire again the year or two after, and you pick the Great Britain side out of that again, like a 32-man squad or something like that. Training sessions again, and they just whittled the squad down, and we got you have like a certain time. In like 6 weeks, we'll pick the travelling squad. I'm lucky enough I got picked in the travelling squad to go there as well. Went there for that was 2 weeks. It was another 2 week old. I say oldie. It was a 2 week old.
Yeah, no, it sounds.
I'd say, consider that I didn't play any professional. I wasn't lucky enough to play professional stuff like that, but not done too bad. I've had a fair few good oldies out of
it. Yeah.
2 week oldies.
So when you're doing these things, mate, and how does like rooming work and stuff, and what are the logistics? Do they organise absolutely everything?
Yeah, let's see. You give them. You've just got to pay your money. Basically, they give you like they tell you the dates when you're going, when you're going to be playing. They just give you a full itinerary of what the days, basically your playing days, and it's pretty good because you have all stuff set out for you, like days out and stuff like that. Because obviously it's a group of like 30. Well, all the staff as well. It's like 30 odd lads, basically on a tour for 2 weeks. So we train quite a bit on them, to be honest with you. Like train most days, but there's loads of downtimes, obviously days out, trips out, and stuff like that. And with like say with the rooming and stuff like that, it's basically just you split everyone up. So obviously I was probably the only lad from the Marys, so the only person I knew. But obviously I knew quite a few lads from like Lancashire, who we've been playing with and stuff like that. But they just completely split everyone up. I think the first time I went, I was with like a Cumbrian and a lad from Yorkshire. And when I went to South Africa, I was with 3 lads from Yorkshire in a room. But it's better. It makes it well better.
Yeah. And what did he do to icebreak, Adam?
It's usually on the ale, to be honest with you.
Best way, really,
it's usually the best. Yeah, it's usually the best way. Especially because you fly in there, so you get a day and a half before you even got there. Joey, all these long haul flights and stuff like that. So when we went to Jamaica, so I think it was we got a train down to London, and we stayed over in London in like a hotel for the night. I think it was the George Groves and Froch first fight. I think we watched it in like some town centre. Again, you put in a room with a random lad. I say random lad. You know him from training and stuff like that, but someone you don't know.
Yeah. And
we went out, had a drink, then we flew the next day. But I think with most sports, especially rugby, having a pint's the best way to go about it.
Oh, it is, mate. And with you ticking these boxes that you probably didn't imagine you'd tick after no approaches from scholarships and academies. Do you keep anything, mate? Like, I'm quite sentimental. I'd keep a top here, shorts here.
I've got all my playing kits. I've kept all my shirts. I've played in my socks and I think I've got the socks and the shorts. Majority of my training gear I give away because I didn't like wearing it after. To be honest with you, I've got a few bits and bobs, like a couple of hoodies and maybe a couple of vests and a couple of pairs of shorts. But majority of it I give it away because I wouldn't turn up to like Mary's training or Tatooine training in my England gear. Yeah. It's just I don't know how I like to do it, but you're getting the piss took out of you anyway, so it's pointless in turning up in it.
I made the mistake and I rushed once to summer training and I must have had like my Wids hoodie on. Didn't realise what my Wids shorts and then Wids socks and Kev. I won't swear it, Kev rinsed me. And I was like, what, you're not going to look? And I must have looked the right toss. But he let me know about it, like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't I didn't want to do it anyway, but it wasn't worth the hassle anyway, but I'll just go be playing gear. So I give majority of my stuff away. So I've kept the kits and stuff like that, the main stuff, but all the other bits I just give away.
Right. And did you leave Widnes Rugby League behind when the transition come? Because you played a little bit first, didn't you? So you played some of rugby in Widnes for a bit? I
played some rugby for a good few years. I left 2017. I went signed for Tatooine.
Right.
Like I said, the reason I was leaving was because rugby was just like wasn't the same. I'd been playing, obviously, I played on a tour, and I'd been playing with lads who were playing NCR every week, and they were saying like, "Oh, come and play. It's better standard, be better for you." And obviously, when you start playing on the tours and stuff like that, you think, "Well, might as well go and play a better standard." It's more enjoyable to play when you're playing for like Lancashire and stuff like that. Even though a few lads are still playing North East Men's and Counties, a majority of them are all playing NTL. So I was having to think about it, and I say, but the managers were struggling. They didn't have a coach. They're struggling to get people training and stuff like that. I'm struggling to get a team. So I just thought I'm just gonna go and give it a go, and that's when I ended up going joining Tatooine.
What were the other options, mate, or was it always going to be Tatooine?
Well, it's honestly no at the time because remember Sean Richardson, played for Widnes?
Yeah.
He was the coach at Blackbrook, and he was the coach at Lancashire, and he was the coach at Great Britain Open Age. So because I'd met Sean, I got on well with Sean really well. He looked after me quite a bit, to be honest with you. And obviously I played with him, and he played back row himself. So he spent when we were training, he'd spend a lot of time with the back rowers and the centres, tell him how he wants them to play, what to do, and stuff like that. He was quite he was good, helped you out a lot. But he wanted me to go and play at Blackbrook, and my dad said, "Why don't you go and play at Blackbrook with Sean? He's looked after you. He's done a lot for you. He's got you in the teams. He's kept you in his teams. He's picked you in the teams." And I was like, and ahhing. There's a couple of lads from Pilks, so I had to go. Do you have a old Danny Lynch?
No, mate.
No. He was playing on the tours, and he was at Pilks. He said he tried to get me to go down there, but there was quite a few. That leaf, like Nick Ledger, Jack Jones, Sean Lester. There was a few of them who were playing with at Lancashire, who were playing with at Thato, and I got on really well with them. Like, don't just click with people a certain way, especially Nick at the time. Just click with people and like get on with them and like what he was about, what they were doing. And I was thinking, I don't know where to go and say. My dad wanted me to go Blackbrook because Sean was there and he looked after me, to be fair. Then I went on tour to South Africa. I was still got married at the time, and I was just chatting to a few lads from Watbrow and other places who played against them. I was saying, I think about going somewhere else, just undecided where to go. And the majority of them people said, I'd go that way. They're good setup, good team. But at the time, he just got relegated that year. So when I went to him, he was in Division 1. So he just got relegated out of the Prem into Division 1 the year I signed for him. So we're obviously getting on quite well with like Nick Ledger and a few of the other lads, and a few people from other places saying it's probably the best place to go. I decided to go and sign for them.
And no brown envelope or nothing, no.
No, I think I'm the only person who's played how much. You've never been paid a penny.
No, like that. I'm not even being funny. I just presumed because of the standard they're at.
Mate, honestly, I swear down.
Win money maybe or something. Yeah.
Never, ever. Like as far as I was aware, no one's ever been. But since I played there, like people joke on Twitter, and there's a bit of a thing on Twitter where it's because, to be fair, when I was playing there, and the year after I left, the players that were playing there are all basically semi-pro. They should be playing semi-pro. I'd say 80% of them. And there was always jokes that they're getting paid, and we always should joke about it on Twitter. Like, we won, playing pitch the £20 notes and like winning team and stuff like that, winning money.
Yeah.
But I honestly, 100%, I've never got a penny from anything like that ever.
Because there's obviously something good about the club, because people go back at them, don't they?
Yeah, well, I think it's like the lucky thing with Tatawit is, from my point of view, is a lot of the lads who are playing, they've played together as kids. So like a lot of them up there, especially now and the couple of years before I finished playing, there's a good chunk of them, maybe 7 or 8 of them, who all played. Like, they used to play for Portugal, a lot of them, and a few played for Tatawit as kids.
They used to be St Helens Crusaders, didn't they?
Yeah, years ago. Yeah. But they're all like Matt Purcell's age and Joe Tom Gilmore's age, all them.
Yeah.
They used to like a bit of a rivalry, I think, with like the Hornets and Portugal, because of how good the teams were. So they're lucky. Right. They've got like a big group of mates who are luckily very good at rugby and also very close mates. So that's what's got them through with having such a good quality team. People like, there was a couple of like Conor Dwyer, there was Foster. They were all playing semi-pro. Stopped playing semi-pro because they got enough of it, but come straight back and play last week. So it looks like they're bringing semi-pro players in, but really just going back to play with the mates.
Obviously, that bond pulls people in, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it does help with a good side. They've got a good setup, yet well looked after up there.
Yeah.
So it does. It's a massive help. There's a big draw to it. You've got the nice clubhouse, a big fancy pitch, and with the floodlights at the front of the club. It makes it there's a draw to it. To be fair,
showers a little bit better than the old Mary's ones, or
just a little bit better, yeah, just a little bit. Somewhere to sit down and stuff like that.
Yeah, and actually be warm, not burning you and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what were the standout moments in your Thato spell, mate? What kept you going back?
The first year we got there, we won Division 1. We won it with about 5 games to go. I think we lost like 3 games all year, something like that. It wasn't many. So that was straight away. First year there, we won a trophy, which is a big thing. And then in that first year I was there, again, because you're playing on a better standard with better players and there's more people watching, I got asked to go and train for the England night. No, I think England nights. It's just England, basically. It's just England Lions. England Lions are called, sorry, yeah. England Lions. So I got asked to go and train for them then. For the tour, they were going Fiji at the end of the year.
Right.
So again, I went on that tour. But I didn't get picked originally on that tour. I think it was a 32-man training squad, maybe, or 34. I made it into the 30-man training squad, but I didn't get picked in the 27-man training squad.
Right.
Again, it was one of them. That was full of like the best players in the NCL. Majority of them were coming from the Premiership, and I've been playing in the First Division all year. But the coach was the Wasp Brow coach, who obviously he didn't even know who I was. Not because it wasn't like doing his job. He'd obviously never seen me play. I'd never played in that league before. And the coach that picked me up was Richard Owen. He was the Pats coach. But he left there, and he wasn't coaching at the time. He was just doing his England job. He later become the Thato coach a year after that, actually. But he liked me. I got on really, really well with him. So he wanted me in the team. I went in the training squad, but I never got picked in the final 27-man training squad. But I ended up going on a tour because someone got injured the week before. So only rang me and said we want you to come. And then going Fiji. It wasn't bad.
You've done all right, haven't you?
I've had a few good oldies, so you've not been too bad out of it.
And then, are they part of the world that you went off your own back, or is it just the luck of the draw?
I'd never have gone them places, I don't think. Maybe, but I'd probably gone Jamaica, not to play rugby. A bit of a mad place to play rugby.
Yeah.
South Africa, I would never have gone there, probably. Again, seeing things, being like, they went like down all the wildlife, seeing lions and elephants and mad, good experiences for playing rugby for free as well.
Yeah. No, that's it. It's the beauty in it, mate. So before we move on and talk about why you've packed in and stuff, which you've touched on a little bit, was there no opportunities to go and play semi-pro yourself with? Because a lot of Widnes lads get picked up, mate, don't they? Yeah,
when I was I think it was the second year I was there. Mike Grady and Johnny Leather were coaching at North Wales.
Yeah.
So Johnny Leather got in contact with me and asked me if I fancy going down. And to be honest with you, I'd like to have gone and done it, but the job at the time I was still on the railway, so I was working Saturday nights majority of the weekends, not every weekend, but quite a fair few. And Johnny asked me to go down. They played Sunday afternoons, which didn't really suit my lifestyle at the time because I'd been working Saturday night, getting up, and sometimes getting straight on a bus and going to London, stuff like that. And they didn't offer me much money. It was maybe 100, 150 quid a week. It wasn't much. I understand why they wouldn't. Obviously, not going to offer you anymore because you just basically have an amateur player. And he asked me to come down. I just said I'd turn it down because of my shift I was working, and I generally enjoyed playing at Tatooine. I didn't want to leave there. Now, if it was worth more money, it was worthwhile financially, I'd have done it, but there wasn't a massive amount to give up the rest of me. Like, I was loaded losing quite a bit with working Saturday nights. I lost quite a lot of my weekends that way. And then if I'd have played Sunday as well, I'd have lost that as well. So the finances side wasn't worth it. And then the year after, maybe the same year after, I got a phone call off the year after it was off Stuart Littler. Do you know he used to coach Swinton?
Yeah, Stu. Yeah, Oldham.
He asked me, said, no, he was at Swinton at the time.
Was he?
Yeah, he was at Swinton at the time. He rang me, asked me about coming down, and I changed jobs at this time. So I'd got my new job. I was working shift work, and two of the lads who were new, Sean Kenny and Conor Dwyer, was playing for Swinton the year before. And they'd left because they were both doing the same job I had, doing shift work because they couldn't train and stuff like that. He didn't like it, I don't think. He rang me and he said, I said, interesting, I need some middles. I'm interested if you're going to come down. I said, I'm interested. I might come down. I said, but I won't be able to train and play as much. He said, why? Where'd you work? I told him where I worked. And he said, yeah, Sam, mate, I'll give you a phone call in a couple of days. And he never rang me back. I was probably never going to go, to be fair, because he probably wouldn't have offered me much money. And I said, I was working shift work and I probably wouldn't be able to train and play and commit properly.
Yeah.
But,
no, well, and if it was meant to be, it'd have been, mate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I don't like to have said I've been able to have played that standard. But I genuinely enjoy playing amateur, and I played in a good team at that way. It was successful. It was enjoyable. Like, I genuinely enjoyed going training, playing trips out on a Saturday. I enjoyed it, so I was never that bothered about not doing it.
Right. So when the time come to call it a day, rugby-wise, mate, what was that down to, and was it a difficult decision for you?
It was, no. So obviously I played rugby since I was about 4, so I've been playing quite a while. I think I was 29 when I finished playing, I think. Yeah, I've been 29. The first year, that's if we won the league. The second year, we won the NCL Premiership, which was good. But that was a big thing, really, to win that. It's probably the best thing you can win as an amateur, to be fair. And then the year after, we got knocked out in the semi-finals, maybe, or the quarters, not too sure. And then the Suzuki final year, I've done 4 years at Tatooine. So I was umming and ahhing over it because my knees were bad. Like, they've been bad for quite a few years, just struggling, just taking tablets. And I could play on a Saturday and I'd be, like most people do, I'd be knackered to like the Wednesday, Tuesday. And that last year playing, because obviously it's summer rugby, I had to train in my trainers. I couldn't train in my boots because it used to hurt my knees that much. So I train in my trainers for Thursday, and I'd play in my boots on a Saturday, and I was just knackered, to be honest with you. I was struggling in work, taking tablets and stuff like that. And then we played that year. We got to the third or fourth round of the Challenge Cup because we beat North Wales Crusaders at home in the Challenge Cup. And he hurt my knee that day. I don't know what I did. I remember he hurt it. I don't know how or why, but I remember he hurt it that week. And then a couple of weeks after we played Dewsbury at home on the telly again. We got beat off them. Not by much, we got beat off them. But my knee was just progressively getting worse. I felt I could feel it getting worse. I was taking more tablets. I didn't feel like I was playing as well as I wanted. Wasn't playing as well as I wanted to, or I thought I could do. I was struggling. As the year got on, I was like missing a couple of sessions. Just like I would train every Thursday, some weeks, not all the time. Or I would go. I just like have a jog about. I do like the team run through at the end and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, so we'd be working and doing shifts and stuff like that. It was just becoming more and more and more, and I felt like I wasn't playing as well as I could. And I was just coming to the end, and I just thought, I think it's time, because I wasn't, without disrespecting like the Northwest Men's League team, which is like the second team. I didn't want to go and play. I'd done my time playing that standard. I played that year league for 5, 6, 7 years maybe. So they wasn't bothered about going down and playing. They just wanted to play as high as I could, as long as I could. And then I realised it probably wasn't going to play as well as I could. I just thought it's maybe time to give it up.
Sure enough, mate. And any regrets about anything you've not done, you have done?
As I say, I would like to have said I've played semi-pro and had a go at it just to test myself. Because I thought at the time when I was playing, I felt myself probably was good enough to play. I wouldn't have been a standout player, but I've been able to play it. But it just wasn't the timing. Never worked out well enough, really. But apart from that, no, I say I've been on. I went Canada as well on like a Northwest Men's League select side when I was at the Marries. Well, it was the year transition from the Marries to Thatcherweath. So I got picked when I was playing for the Marries, but I ended up going when I was playing at Thatcherweath. It was the first year I played at Thatcherweath. That was like through a Northwest Men's select side in Canada. So I've been Jamaica, South Africa, Canada, and Fiji. So I've not done too bad out of it, to be honest with you, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah. And just before we go on to your daft questions, mate, how was the Marries with you when you left?
Brilliant. Obviously,
yeah.
I can't remember who I told at the time, because there wasn't really a coach there. It wasn't like I'd left a team who were like fully fledged. It was like I think we were struggling to get a team together. That, yeah, I think we only played for an extra year or so after he folded. I think, if I'm right.
Right.
So I just decided I can't remember who I told now, but I told Ricky Hill, because Ricky Hill was the chairman at the time, so you would have had to sign the paperwork off and stuff like that. And Ricky obviously wasn't an issue. He sorted me transfer straight away. And if I remember rightly, the secretary come to me at that week and said, "Oh, like we've got your transfer through and it's all gone through fine." He said, "But you must be pretty well liked." I was like, "Oh, why?" He said, "Someone sent me an email through with it. I think it was Will Tully, because Will Tully, even though he wasn't coaching, he was still a name on he must be on the committee side of it or something, yeah. And he signed me transfer off straight away and sent like a letter through. Basically said, "Oh, you've got a good lad, you've got a good player. I wish him all the best." So there was never any issues with me leaving at all. I think everyone understood why I left, and it was going to do it for myself here to try and better myself, which worked out well.
Yeah. And was you involved in that inter-town team game that time, Adam?
No. There was quite a few years before that, wasn't there? No, it was quite a few years before, wasn't it?
Would that have been something you'd have been keen on? Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't get picked in it, and one of my best mates, Kev Brook, he actually picked the team. He didn't pick me in it.
Cheers,
to be fair, though, at the time there was better players playing than me at that time.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't. Like I say, I probably would have been playing it, and I would have been fine to play in it. But the team they picked, there's some very good players playing in it. So
it's a good
wasn't
side,
in a situation. Wasn't in a situation to start spitting me dummy out and say, "Oh, I shouldn't have been picked in it" and stuff like that. There's probably better players being picked.
Would it have been something you'd have been keen on, say it got revisited 3 or 4 years later?
It's just something nice to say you played, isn't it? They don't happen very much, stuff like that, do they? It's always nice to say you played and stuff like that and do stuff. And I actually went and watched the game. It was horrible, to be honest with you.
No, I went, mate. It was a rough game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was horrible. I did a good job. I didn't play in it really.
And we never ticked the box for you to come and try our code, mate. No.
To be honest with you, I always said I was going to do it, because when you played at the Marries, you yourself come along, didn't you? Juzzy come. Whitty come for a few games. Mike Jones, he was a good player. Him. I always said I was going to do it, and I would have liked to have done it. But then when I went playing for Thatcherweath, then it just never became an because then I don't think I could never have played summer and winter. I mean, these would never have held up.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, mate? Yeah.
I was more bothered about playing league for the Marries and then Thatcherweath. So that was my main point, really. So I wish you would have tried it. I don't think it was for me, because I don't think I'd liked to play in the middle, and I was never quick enough to play in the backs. So
you'd have been all right in the centres, Adam. Well, Sean plays, you know. Yeah. Sean Rich.
Oh, he still plays for like LSH, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, mate. Yeah. Fair play, plays prop as well. Horrible, that.
Does he? No way. I'm going nowhere near that. Stay well away from that.
So a few daft questions for you, mate. So did you have any pre-match superstitions?
No. I used to try and eat certain stuff before I played when I was at Thatcher, to try and take it a bit more serious as such, but I had no superstition, never used to do anything.
Right. So, did you have a favourite away ground?
Honestly, I like playing at Wasbrow because we always won,
Right.
even though they were good. It was only probably
Yeah.
3 years that was for. 3 years we played in the Prem. I never lost there. Honestly, and it was always because the Cumbrians, like they all come out sidelines, chocker with them, they're abusing you. But honestly, I got because I went on a tour with a couple of them. Like, when you go on tours with them, the Cumbrians are some of the soundest people I've ever come across.
Yeah.
They like the beer and they're really, really nice people. So I used to like go and play up there. I say probably Rothbrow because we won there quite a bit. We won a semi-final there as well, I think, to go into the final. And it said the crowd always used to come out, and it was always a good piss up on the way home. It was 3.5 hours away.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, especially after the win, mate.
That's
So
it, as I'm saying, even better than me.
Yeah, I mentioned this off recording to you. So the toughest player you played with and against, remembering the definition of tough for people is very different.
Yeah. The toughest player I probably played with is a lad from Thatcher. He's called Josh Crane. He's about 12 stone, piss wet through, and he bangs people harder than anyone I've ever seen in my life. And he can literally play anywhere. The year we played, he plays like 9, 6, 13, 12, 3. The only place I've never seen him
So
play.
he'll just stick a ball in his hand, sort of thing.
Yeah, but he carries it.
Yeah.
He runs that hard and that fast. He trips over his own feet sometimes. But it's like, if you're seeing him and like just seeing him in person, you wouldn't think of it. Like we used to play at the time. Last couple of years I played, he was my centre. And when people play, you see people run at him because I'm a lot bigger than him, and he just bends him in half every time. He's been better running at me, so I couldn't tackle. But he ran at him every time, and he bends him, and he carried well, and he played like 4 times above his weight, well above his weight.
Yeah. And is there anyone that stands out against, mate? You might not know him, but you'd know his club or.
Tough one, really. I'd probably say playing like the Widnes Cup games, maybe playing against like some of the West Bank, probably the West Bank teams. You used to have to Josh Sim playing and stuff like that. And it was always hard people. They'd be massive, dead strong, struggle to tackle your people like that. I'd probably say something like that. Yeah. Really, sticks to mind.
So if you could tell a younger you from what you've experienced now, something that you'd do or wouldn't do, what would it be?
Probably, younger me, I'd probably tell myself to get fitter earlier because I was quite a big lad from like 17 till about 21, 22. I was quite fat. And I got myself fitter afterwards. I'd probably tell myself to get fit earlier on.
Was you a big lad? Better.
Yeah, I was like 18, 19 stone years ago.
Was you?
Yeah, but
I don't remember that.
Don't you? No. I've definitely got pictures and what I definitely was. Yeah, I think I was probably from around because when I was we used to work away a lot for me, work for my uncle. So we used to be away all week working and work away the weekends. So I was just eating shit, drinking ale, and then obviously coming home and I was still playing rugby and stuff like that, but I never used to do any training bad rugby. Didn't go to gym out like that. Wasn't into it. So I wish I'd have got into gym and training and eating better a lot younger. I think it'd been better for me. But it's hard when you play rugby on the piss, aren't they?
No, that's it. And especially like you said, you're a young lad worker away, probably working with fellas that aren't playing or.
Well, I was working with fellas and you just go in the pub after work and stuff like
that. That's it. And it was just a culture, wasn't it? Yeah. No, it was, wasn't it?
It was all it was,
yeah. So if you're out with your mates, you've had a few, the mic ends up in your hand, what are you giving us, friend?
I'm not a singer, so honestly, I'm not a shy person. I'm not a singer. I'm not. I'd shy away. I had to sing a song as an initiation in Fiji on the England tour, and you don't have to do it until you play a game. So I didn't play the first game. I played the second game, but I'd seen everyone who played the first game had to do it. So for that full week, then I was racking my brains thinking I'm gonna have to sing. We have to do a song here. We was in like some little shack in the middle of Fiji because there's not much there, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
We was in this shack. It was like, you have to sing in a minute. And I was just like, what am I going to sing? Because I didn't know any words. Like, so when you start racking your brain, your mind starts going blank.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I'm not a bit of a singer, but I don't know. To be honest with you, I know it sounds mad, but I'm a big Lionel Richie fan, so I'd probably have to sing a Lionel Richie song that I probably want to know the words to.
Fair enough, mate.
I wouldn't
got anywhere at the stadium.
I know, yeah. I wouldn't choose to sing, but
that was the rumour. Yeah, but if
you
had to, it'd be Lionel.
I'd think only because I know the words to these songs, that's probably it, I reckon.
Yeah. Fair enough, mate. So, if you don't mind, mate, it's a 1 to 13 that you've played with. And just a little bit of why, if that's okay.
Yeah, bomb. Oh, I'd probably go 1. There was a lad that played Thatui, and he come for 1 year. The year he won the NCL Prem. He come from Pats. That the coach Richard Owen brought him from the Pats. He's named Dan Burkett. He come and I went on tour with him to Fiji, but he played in the wing. I didn't really notice much about him. Do you like? Someone said, "Oh, Dan Burkett's coming." I was like, "Oh, he was all right, nice lad. Like he's a good lad. He'd be all right." And he come, and he was unbelievable. Like he played fullback. He could kick. He kicked. I don't know. His percentages must have been high. Kick goals. He was tough as well. He was a big lad. He's like 6'1", probably about 15 stone, but like in shape, like. And every time he kicked him at fullback, you know he was going to make you 30, 40 yards. He could carry well. He played well out the back. He was loud. He had everything really, from our point of view, what we needed as a fullback. He was very, very skillful in that. But I played with quite a few good fullbacks at the Marys and stuff like that. Like Dean French played, he was brilliant. They're electric. Yeah. But I suppose Dan just had maybe a few more attributes to him. Go with Dan for 1. Yeah. And then wingers. Probably the one winger, I'd have Gav Conroy. Who's, you know Gav pretty well anyway. He's solid. He'd probably done 30, 40 scoots a game. Score a try as well. And he was great to have a pint with as well after the game. Then on the other wing, I'd probably go... a lad called Lewis Taylor. He had played with him at Thatui. Kiwi. He was a Kiwi lad. Just called him Kiwi. He was one of the quickest people I've ever seen. You know, the one you could just score a try from nowhere. You've been in a little bit of trouble, maybe if they're getting beat or games a bit tight. He could pick the ball from his own 10-yard line and score. He's quite powerful as well. Right. So I'll probably put him on the wing and on the other winger.
Yeah.
And then centres. Probably go with Mike Gill from those players in the Marys.
Yeah.
He's a proper old head, looked after everyone. He was tough as well. He's a very good player, to be fair, but he was very, very tough as well at the same time. So when he played them with this cup games, you know, it was tight and tough. He'd be there taking people's heads off and taking carries. Yeah. Just never, ever took a backward step from anyone.
Mm.
And then another centre. They're very good players on tour, but I've only played like one game with them and or half a game with them and stuff like that. So people I don't really come into thought too much. We'll go Josh Crane in the other centre because I played with him for quite a few years. Like I said before, one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen. Carries a ball all the time. Just so I can play anywhere as well in your team. And 6, I'd probably have to go Birdseye. Again, he set up. He still set me up for so many tries at the Marys. He was unbelievable. Again, his kicking game was amazing. And he's another one as well. To be fair, for an halfback, you don't get many halfbacks who'll have a fight, but he was a nutcase.
Yeah, but shy was he?
He'd fight with anybody and anybody. Sometimes I have to calm him down. Sometimes I don't stop him fighting, but never ever take a backward step from anybody.
Yeah.
And then the 7, probably got Froddy. How do you play again? Played with him at Thatui. He used to always have a saying, what was the saying now? It's something about forwards carrying the piano and the halfbacks playing the piano. And he was literally, he could play in a dinner suit, never ever got touched. He come off the field with a clean shirt every week, made 2 or 3 tackles max, but just controlled the game. And the way we played under certain coaches, that's he was quite structured. And he did it to a T. We had like sets coming out. There's just stuff like that. It was regimental. Do you know what I mean? It was just like second nature. You knew when to play, and you knew when to kick, or when not to kick, or when not to overplay, or just play it simple. Just did everything right for a lot of things right. Anyway,
right, you're packed.
Right, so I've to put our kid at one of my props. He was playing with my brother, and I think everyone else who's played with a sibling will probably tell you playing with your brother is probably the best things you can do. We were lucky enough to probably win quite a few Widnes Cups together, and I think we were in the league. Maybe we did. We were in the league with Marys as well, North counties, and just play along, training with him, playing with him every week. Especially your brother, probably the best thing. So I'd definitely have to have him in there.
Easy for your mum and dad as well.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get the stick off your dad as well. Yeah. 9. That's a tough one. That it's hard really because.
Do you want from your 9? No. Well, you can do if you want.
I think this day and age now, I could play with quite a few good. Like Anthony Owens was always the 9 at the Marys, and he's probably one of the best players I've ever played with. But when I went playing at Thatchery, I had like 2 lads playing out, Sean Kenny and Lewis Foster. We both played Super League, both played Championship. Both 2 completely different players. Sean's a bit of a runner, and Lewis can again literally controls the whole game. Like everything goes through him. We've won games just by him slowing it down, picking his pitch speed up, just controls it all from there.
Yeah,
tough one really.
Have all 3 if you want, mate.
No, I don't know. Yeah, just have to stick all 3 of them in there. It's hard because all different types of players. Obviously, Anthony was an older head. Anthony could, again, like deception from 9. Obviously, you must have seen some of these dummies from 9 and people go the wrong way. Yeah, it's a tough one. I have to sit on the fence a bit there and put a few of them in at 9. It's hard to pick from all.
No worries.
And the prop. Probably have to pick one of my mates in Thatchery, Starkey. Mike Starkey's name is. He's about 6'2". I don't know what he wants. Like, he's a lot slimmer now. He's a PT now, so he's in good nick now. At the time, he was a bit more bulkier, but I've never seen anyone carry a ball as hard. Literally full tilt, like upright, and just full tilt, 100%, no stopping. It was unbelievable. So honest with you, so I have to go with Mike Stark as my other one, and then back row. I'd go Jamie Tracy's up. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He plays at Thatchery. He's another one, about 6'2", 6'3", about 17 stone, but he's rapid. I've never seen someone that big score as many full length tries in my life.
That quick as well.
You could just
give like Cordy Oaks, isn't it?
Yeah, so just like that side, but big and rangy. But he's huge. But he's rapid, and the amount of times he's playing and he's given like a short ball in our own line, he's just burst through, and he's quicker than most backs. He's an absolute freak. So probably put Jamie at 1, and then for the back row. Probably the on Thatchery, probably like Conor Dwyer. So he played with him for a couple of years. Up at Thatchery, but he's the one. He played a lot of semi-pro. I think he played for Saints first team. I think he played a lot of semi-pro for years, and then come back to Thatchery for a couple of years. He went Widnes St 2 years ago. During the year, and he's come back to Thatchery again now. But he's the one. You watch people and you just tell they played a better standard. He talks quite a bit, but he talks like the right stuff, not just like wasting people just talk for no reason.
Yeah.
Talks the right thing, and just like teams have loads of time with the ball in his hands, like gliding past this. It's strange, but loads of time on his hands all the time to go through.
Right.
13. Oh. I think. Probably go left in the last week actually. Andy Lake, he was the captain when I was there for a few years. It was mainly like another prop, to be honest with you. Because obviously, when it goes to that, everyone's gone to that stage. You don't need to have an extra, like, basically extra middle at 13.
Yeah.
But he was another one, like 100% committed all the time, never missed anything. He'd run through a brick wall, fight with a brick wall, just push one in people you want to be played with all the time. So probably put him in.